I've never seen all Arsenal fans ganging up together and calling for the sacking of the manager of Arsenal last season. At the beginning of the last season, Brentford beat Arsenal by 2-0 at the Brentford Community Stadium. By then, I think it changed its name now. And all Arsenal fans ganged up together and said, Arteta out. They wanted Mikel Arteta out. Reason was, how can they lose to a team that had just been promoted into the Premier League? And that was Brentford. You remember that? Even the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, His Excellency, came out and really reacted on Twitter that, how can we spend money on a team that loses like that? He was furious. You get? A high dignitary to that level was also touched on by the loss to Brentford. But for my case, I told Kosi by then that it's just the beginning of the season. Let's wait and see the first 10 games, how they're going to pan out. And Arsenal lost the first 3, Brentford, Man City, and Chelsea. Then they started their winning run against Burnley with that Odegaard free kick. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. We are here to bring you the Arsenal versus Brentford Premier League preview. It's going to be the 21st game. Arsenal is playing the season. Remember, they've played 20 games. Out of the possible 6 points, Arsenal have managed to collect 50. They've lost 2 games and drawn 2. Those are the 10 points that they've not been able to add their tally this season. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner, that's the place to be. And continue to be on this channel because you guys are really amazing and we love you here. Now, Arsenal's last game they played was against Everton and they lost away. Their last game they played at home was against a side called Manchester United and they beat us, because I support Manchester United, by 3 goals to 2. United were the first to score. Arsenal leveled. Saka gave them the lead. Lisandro Martinez scored a second goal for Manchester United to level the game. Then in the 90th minute, I think very many United fans like me will never forget that moment of Eddie Nketiah really killing off the game, and obviously it was nowhere near in our reach to save ourselves. Now, Arsenal has the following players absent, all out of action. Gabriel Jesus returning like 16 days from now. Those are like 2 weeks from now. Emily Smith-Rowe, it's rumored that is going to be back in training this week, though we're not yet confirmed. We're waiting for that Mikel Arteta, but don't count him in the list of players that are really away. Res Nelson is back. He has been training today, and I think tomorrow the manager is going to let us know about his fitness in the press conference. Thomas Partey is available. I think the only Arsenal player that is away is Gabriel Jesus. The rest of the players are really available and they're really having a very good time. Oh, the other one is Mohamed El Nini that is really away, I think. All right. Thank you for that reminder. That is my brain that has really given me a reminder about this side of Arsenal versus a team called Brentford, because Brentford is a team that really beat Arsenal, but when Arsenal hosted them at their stadium last season, I think they beat them by 3-0, and this season when Arsenal went to Brentford, they beat Brentford by how many? By 3-0. I remember it was William Saliba who scored first from a corner kick. Then Gabriel Jesus scored a header, very good cross to the far post, delivered in by Grant Xhaka. And the third goal was scored by who? Fabio Vieira. I remember it was a snapshot. And in that game, that's when Thomas Partey returned and Odegaard was injured. And most of you were really worried about not having Odegaard, but Thomas Partey returned. Remember, that was the game that Arsenal played after losing to Manchester United at Old Trafford by 3-1. They returned and really won. Now, again, this time, after losing away at Everton, their next fixture is against Brentford. You see how things are really coming back into action. So, is it a domino effect? I don't know, but let's wait and see how that's going to pan out. But I believe Arsenal are really going to return big and better. If they are at Emirates, it's a different team altogether. Arsenal have all the weapons to go ahead and really hit or create harm to the team of Brentford. When you look at Brentford, their away form has not been all that enticing, because when you look at their games they last played, the last game they played at home, it was against Leeds. They drew 0-0. When they played away at West Ham in the FA Cup, West Ham beat them by 1-0. In the Premier League, they beat West Ham away by 2-0. So it shows you that they are really full of surprises. And remember, towards the World Cup, the last game they played towards the World Cup, they visited City and beat City by 2-1, meaning that a shocker can come in through and obviously be felt by a team of Arsenal. And you expect them to come full squad and in full power to see to it that they really come in and do the needful. For Brentford, you know their style of play. One, they'll sit back and hit Arsenal on the break. They play with high intensity, they press a lot, but they're having Ivan Toney, Mbuenu, and which other guy? Da Silva. That front three keeps on watching. The likes of Jensen in the midfield always play those balls through the pockets of space, and these ones will run at the defenders of Arsenal. So I think the plan of Brentford is known and the game plan of Arsenal is known, because Mikel Arteta doesn't change his game plan. He is direct, passing, tiki-taka, creating overloads in the midfield, creating spaces for Saka and Martinelli in the wide areas. Then a pass is played to the blind side, and obviously Saka or Martinelli go ahead to explore those spaces, and hence Arsenal scoring goals. So I think Mikel Arteta is really ready for Brentford. I won't talk about the years of 1927 when Brentford last beat Arsenal, or was it 1980 something or 1972 when Brentford last beat Arsenal. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the reality that Brentford came back to the Premier League in the season of 2021-2022. The first game they played against Arsenal, they beat Arsenal by 2-0 at their stadium. When they visited Arsenal, Arsenal beat them by 3-0. Even this season, Arsenal visited them at their stadium, and it's a London derby. Arsenal beat them by 3-0. I've already told you who scored those goals. Now, they are coming in at Emirates. Arsenal having lost at Everton, they want to get themselves back. They need to bounce back. And if there is a team that I trust at their stadium, it's none other than Arsenal. Emirates. The fans are roaring. They can go for you. Oh my God. And I believe that the gulf in class between Arsenal and Brentford is way big. So let's wait and see what is going to go on and happen at the game of football. Now, allow me to take you through to the predicted starting 11, because I believe some changes are going to be made in that Arsenal starting 11, because there have been players that have been really dropping off, and I think some changes are going to be called for by the manager of Arsenal. But Jorginho is a variable, Thomas Partey is a variable, Trossard, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, and very many others. They are variable. The only player of Arsenal that is away is Gabriel Jesus and El Nini. Those are the only two players away. The rest are back in training, and let's see how Arsenal is going to stand against a team known as Brentford on that is Saturday at 18 hours at Emirates. The system is going to be 4-3-3, a custom system of Arsenal now. Then in goal, it's not going to be Matt Turner. Obviously, it's going to be Ramsdale. For that, no one has a reason to throw Ramsdale away, and it's no brainer even discussing about him, his abilities, because every time we talk about him and what he did. But I just want to reflect. I always reflect on his performances for the previous games, but in the previous game, he had nothing to save. The only target, the only shot that went on target that he could save, and he saved it, it was ruled as an offside, so he had no shot to save. The only shot that he had to save went the back of the net. The other one that he would have saved, or went past through him was the one that Dokore heads away, and the other one of Onana breaking into space, cutting inside and doing a square. Then Calvert-Lewin really fails to go ahead and really meets the ball to the back because it was a tap in if at all he made it. Now, let's go to the right back. The right back, guys, let's admit, ever since the game of Manchester United, Ben White is looking ugly. He's looking ugly. And if at all I'm Mikel Arteta, I don't start him in this game. I bring Tomiyasu to play as the right back. I don't know whether you guys agree with me, but if I'm Mikel Arteta, I go with Tomiyasu into that position because the other guy is really looking ugly. Very, very badly. Ben White, ever since he faced Rashford, he's no longer the same. He's no longer the same, and I believe it's time for Tomiyasu to take back his spot such that Ben White fights for his position, because football, in football, you are as good as the previous 90 minutes you've played. For the previous 180 minutes has played against Manchester United and Everton, he doesn't look nowhere near good. So I believe it's supposed to be Tomiyasu playing on the right side of the central defense. I don't know what your thoughts are. I'm welcoming them in the comment section as you watch the video, but I'm telling you, if at all I were Mikel Arteta, who would I have fronted in this team of Arsenal? Now, people will call for the same change on the left side because Zinchenko really looked rusty also in the game of Everton, but I won't blame him a lot because for him he put in a cross that Bukayo Saka directed into the back of the net, but it went past the goalkeeper, and luckily Connor Cody was onto the goal line and swept it off. So Zinchenko lacked combination of play, and I believe at Emirates, Arsenal are going to retrieve their season back, and they are going to go on back their winning run. And so I believe it's going to be Zinchenko over Kientieni, because I saw some Arsenal fans saying that Kientieni would have come in through. Now, a man who was responsible for Arsenal winning the game of Manchester United, you get, his winning mentality is way past that of Kientieni. You wouldn't take out a player like Zinyi from the game of Everton and bring in Kientieni, because Kientieni's ability is crossing. Arsenal's aerial prowess is nowhere near good. No player that leads Arsenal's line that is good in the air. That's it. That's why when I was doing a story of Vlahovic, that Arsenal is interested in him, I was really excited for Arsenal, because if they get in Vlahovic, he gives them a second way of playing. If the opponent is like Everton, when you're having Vlahovic, you cross that ball in, Vlahovic will win the headers because a cross travels faster than this tiki-taka that Mikel Arteta was ahead to do. Even Gary Neville came out and said that Arsenal have only one option of play. So for me, I go for Zinchenko over Kientieni. The central defense, I think it should be constant. Not so. Saliba on the right side of the central defense and Gabriel Magalhaes. I've seen some people calling in for Jakub Kiwior to come in and start because he has gone ahead to really look good in training. He's fast. He's breaking records for all defenders. But I believe this is not the game you bring in Jakub Kiwior. That's it. Don't bring Jakub Kiwior in, because Arsenal is from a loss. Bring back your central defense partnership of Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba. After you score like 3 goals, then you can take Magalhaes off and get Jakub Kiwior, his debut for Arsenal. That's it. In a game like this, players have rested for 7 days. They last played on Saturday. They're going to play again on Saturday. Nowhere it's written that you bring in Jakub Kiwior. And if at all Kiwior starts, I'll be so much surprised, and Arteta would have subscribed me. So my back four: Tomiyasu right back, Zinchenko left back, William Saliba, and Gabriel Magalhaes. That is it. In goal, Ramsdale. Let's go to the central defense. Sorry, the central defense midfield area. Reservations have been everywhere after that game of Everton. People going ahead to select Jorginho. But Jorginho played only 32 minutes. Who played the 58 minutes? It was Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey really looked ugly that game. And Jorginho came in through. The game had already gone. And nothing really retrieved or brought Arsenal back to the road. So they lost that game by 1-0. But happily enough, Arsenal went ahead to see Man City losing to Spurs. You know it very well that if at all Man City had really won that game, Arsenal would have been 2 points ahead of City. So Arsenal is now having 5 points ahead of a team called Manchester City. United would have crossed into 5 yesterday, but they drew. It's now 7. So Arsenal is 7 points ahead of United. Now, they have a chance to get themselves back to the winning ways. If I told you Mikel Arteta, what do? Do you play Thomas Partey, or you put Jorginho in that central defensive midfield area? Because Thomas Partey had a hell of a game at Goodson Park. He was one of the players that really played uglily. So, what do you do if I told you Mikel Arteta? For my case, I go with this man. Who do you think I'm going to go for? I'm going for this man. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. That is it. Thomas Partey. You know, Thomas Partey has been the spine of Arsenal in that midfield. Everything that Arsenal have been able to do in that midfield, he has rotated so much onto Thomas Partey. So, I believe I'll pick Thomas Partey over Jorginho in this game. Then, if Arsenal is having a commanding lead, I give Jorginho some minutes, like 30 minutes. Thomas Partey plays like 60. Jorginho comes in and plays some 30. I think that will be something great for a club of Arsenal. And Jorginho will be getting in some playing time to get used to the team. But I believe Thomas Partey is going to control that midfield on Saturday at the Emirates. And that's what I believe Arteta is going to go in for. I don't think that's going to drop Partey. I don't see nowhere Partey is going to be dropped for Jorginho to start. So, that is going to be the midfielder of Arsenal to play in the single pivot. Then alongside the usual two, Odegaard and Granit Xhaka. That's it. Now, I put up a story yesterday about Fabio Vieira when Gary Neville, a pundit of Sky Sports, formerly a captain of Manchester United, saying that Mikel Arteta doesn't have faith in Fabio Vieira because Fabio Vieira is not always used a lot, even from the bench, yet he's a £34 million player. So, could he start him in this game? Because in the last game they played against Brentford away, Fabio Vieira played and even went ahead to score a goal that was really great outside the 18 yards box area. Very good shot directed at goal and he scored. Now, I don't see Arteta changing or dropping the captain Odegaard and bringing in Fabio Vieira in this game. I think it's going to be vice versa. Odegaard will start, then Fabio Vieira will come in later. But I think he's trusting him more because when they are losing at Everton, he takes off his captain Odegaard and brings on Fabio Vieira. That means he believes that he can really turn around the game. For Xhaka, one of the consistent players of Arsenal, but I think fatigue is really trying to bite in. You've seen him these games. He has not been all that sparky as he has always been. And I believe, I have a thought that maybe having him played very many games, 90 minutes, maybe, instead of taking off Partey for Jorginho, you take off Partey and let Jorginho come in through such that Partey takes over the role of Xhaka and then Jorginho plays as a central defensive midfielder. How do you say that? Because rotation for Xhaka needs to be made. Xhaka needs to be playing like 60 minutes in certain games. He didn't be playing 90 minutes because I don't remember him failing to play 90 minutes in the recent games. The only game that he failed to go on and play very many minutes, I think that was a game he played only 8 minutes and was taken off the field of play. That's it. But the remainder of the games, Xhaka has been playing 90 minutes for Arsenal. So I believe they need to find means of reserving him because that energy that he's using right now might be needed towards the end of the season because Arsenal don't have a player that can get that to the next level like Granit Xhaka. Now, let's go to the front three. Obviously, Saka playing off the left, attacking side, the right side of the midfield. Martinelli and obviously a player known as Eddie Nketiah leading the line. So I believe that should be the starting 11 of Arsenal. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I believe Mikel Arteta should go in for that team. And if Arteta brings it, I believe him to go ahead and really win. I don't see very many changes, though he might come out and not drop Ben White. But I believe Ben White deserves to be dropped. Ben White deserves to be dropped. But the good thing is that Arsenal comes into this game with very many big boosts of Emery Smith-Rowe training with Arsenal, expected to be available at Emirates when Arsenal is taking on Brentford. Thomas Partey is good and back because he had a ribs problem. Maybe he has recovered and we expect him to come in through and really do the needful. The other player that is really available and fully fit is who has been injured? Emily Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson are really back. Those are the only two. So Arsenal is going to be having a much better bench because a bench with Emily Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, Trossard, those three can come in and change the game. And you can put them, plus Fabio Vieira even, you can bring them on and the game can get changed because I don't see any player that is like Emily Smith-Rowe at Arsenal, even Trossard. You see, Trossard acts well in tight spaces. His composure is really out of this world, nowhere near to any of the players at Arsenal right now available. I think the most composed player is away. That is, I'm talking about the forwards because to me the most composed player at Arsenal is Martin Odegaard. But the forwards that really play in the attacking three position of the attack, I think Jesus comes first in his composure. Then who comes second? I think Trossard is more composed than Bukayo Saka and Martinelli Gabriel. But I believe Arsenal is going to go ahead and really score 3 goals. 3-0. I was tempted to say 4, but I think it's going to be 3-1 because Arsenal rarely keeps a clean sheet at home. I believe Ivan Toney can torment them all, Mbeumo, all Da Silva. So guys, thank you very much for watching in through. That has been my match reaction, my match preview of Arsenal versus Brentford. So your thoughts are welcome in the comment section below about the players that I think the manager is going to go ahead and really bring on to play because I've given you my starting 11. What do you think is your predicted starting 11? Who do you put out and who do you bring in this game of football? Rokani David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And I hand you over to the Almighty Lord. Let's wait and see what's going to happen over the weekend. But Arsenal looks like everything is going in their hands. And this is a must-win game to make a very huge statement to Manchester City. And Manchester United that the trophy is ours. When you look at Arsenal, I want to look at the Premier League fixture and see who is playing first. Is it Arsenal or Man City? So over the weekend, West Ham versus Chelsea coming in first. Then Arsenal is playing first. So Arsenal is playing on Saturday. That means Arsenal has a chance to extend its lead to 8. That's it. Arsenal has a chance to extend its lead to 8 because Man City is playing on Sunday. So Arsenal has every chance to extend its lead to 8 points and put more pressure on Man City. And guess who Man City are playing? They are playing Aston Villa, a team that was going to spoil their party at the last day of the season. Remember that game was once 2-0. Then Man City came up and scored 2 and Gundogan scored the winner. So Arsenal has a chance to pile more pressure on Man City. So if they win that game of football, it's really going to be great for them and they need to go ahead and really do it to achieve the best that they desire for their game of football. So thank you very much. Looks like the trophy is for Arsenal to lose. So let's see how Arsenal does on Saturday. If they win that game of football, then Man City will come on without of pressure because Arsenal would have extended their points from 5 to 8. Rokani David, I'm out. Ciao, ciao.